So, when your son or daughter raises their voice, cuts your sentences, or even forgets to check in for days, do you silently wonder, where did I go wrong? Or maybe you sit quietly remembering the nights you stayed up sick, but now they act as if you're the burden. If any of that stings a little, it means you're still carrying love. Not weakness, not failure, just love. But today let's talk as people who've seen enough life to know that some battles aren't fought with anger. They're solved with something else entirely, and I'll walk you through that, calmly, deeply, respectfully. Because this isn't just your story, this is the story of millions. What's happening is not random. Elders from every background, rich, poor, healthy, sick, rural, urban, are reporting the same thing: disrespect, dismissal, and coldness from their own children. And yet these same children were once infants who couldn't fall asleep without your heartbeat in the room. The shift, it's emotional, but also biological, psychological, and societal. Let's unfold it layer by layer. First, understand this. The world your child now lives in is fast, noisy, distracted, and most importantly, emotionally dislocated. Phones in hand, work stress boiling, relationships fragile, social media telling them they're not good enough unless they buy more, achieve more, argue more. They are not growing with peace. So when they come to you, their reactions, impatience, aggression, arrogance, aren't always about you. They're echoes of pressure, unhealed fear, and a broken rhythm of rest and gratitude. Now, does that excuse the disrespect? No. But it explains why confronting them with anger almost always makes things worse. They expect anger. What they don't expect is understanding paired with quiet strength. Let's come back to your home. Let's say you live alone in a modest apartment. You make your tea slowly. The curtains are half open to let in just enough light. And you wait for a call, a visit. They haven't shown up in a week, and when they do, they're on their phone, they don't ask about your medicine, and they leave early. You feel invisible. Now pause. In that moment, ask yourself, are you about to lecture them, guilt them, or silently withdraw in pain? What if instead, you sat down calmly, without complaint, and shared a memory of when they were 5 and how they made you laugh with a broken spoon in their hair? Why? Because stories unlock the frozen door of memory. They melt the distance. Not always right away, but they remind your child that you are still human, still soft, still worth loving. Let's go deeper. Disrespect from children also stems from role reversal. When you raise them, you were the source of strength, money, health, and answers. Now if they see your forgetfulness, your slower walk, your financial dependence, they get uncomfortable. They subconsciously resist the fact that time has changed the power structure. And unless they've matured emotionally, they act out. Some avoid, some dominate, some ignore. It's their unspoken way of saying, I don't know how to feel now that I'm responsible for you. So guide them. Let them know you are aging, yes, but not vanishing. Let them know that you may be slower, but your wisdom is faster than ever. Let them know, without sounding dramatic, that you don't need caretakers. You need co-pilots in the journey. Now let's address the pain. Some of you raised your children with sacrifices that even words can't fully hold. Sold jewelry for school fees, skipped meals so they could eat, and now they say things like, stop repeating that. I heard you, or I don't have time for this right now. That is not okay. But instead of fighting emotion with louder emotion, try this. Wait for a quiet moment. Not when they're in a rush. Not when they're stressed, and speak from your center. Say, I know you're busy, but sometimes I just need you to listen, not fix, not argue, just listen, because that means more to me than 100 gifts. Say you'll be in my position someday, and I hope someone listens to you then. If you say this with calmness, not tears, not pressure, it enters them like a seed. And seeds take time, but they grow. Let's talk about something uncomfortable. Your own habits. Sometimes the disrespect you face has roots not just in them, but in how we respond. Ask yourself, are you complaining too often? Are you repeating the same warnings? Are you watching too much news and echoing the negativity? None of these make you a bad parent. They make you human. But sometimes younger minds interpret that as criticism or noise. So make your words rare but valuable. Share stories, not just advice. Ask questions instead of giving instructions. And most powerfully, show them how you're learning, evolving, adapting. Say, I read something new this week. Say, I started walking in the park again. Say, I found a new way to cook rice without salt. These little lines show that age is not the end of growth. Let's take a breath. Because I know this can hurt, to talk about your own children in this way, to even admit there's a but this pain is not your identity, it's a season. And there's something else you can do starting today. Create your own emotional schedule. Because the worst trap is not your children ignoring you. It's that you start ignoring yourself. Wake up every day with 3 intentions. 1 thing to learn, 1 thing to laugh at, 1 thing to love. This could be as simple as reading a hadith about kindness, calling an old friend, feeding a stray cat, trying a new breakfast that strengthens your bones. Do not let their absence define your presence. Let's also not forget your body. Disrespect drains energy. And if you're already dealing with arthritis, high blood pressure, or diabetes, this emotional stress adds fuel to the fire. So strengthen yourself physically. Protein. Get at least 50-60 grams daily if you're over sources. Soft-boiled eggs, cottage cheese, paneer, fish, moong dal soup, yogurt. Calcium. For strong bones and steady moods. Sources: ragi porridge, sesame seeds, sardines, if acceptable, spinach and almonds. Vitamin D, a must for emotional resilience. Just 10-20 mins of morning sun, a supplement your doctor approves. Iron, especially for older women. Sources: dates, jaggery, in moderation, beetroot, red meat, if suitable, lentils. Hydration, at least 1.5 liters of water, but spaced out through the day, not forced at once. Avoid heavy sugars, processed snacks, and late-night salty foods. Create a schedule. Wake before 7 a.m. Stretch, gentle joint circles, seated yoga, or 5-minute floor walks. Eat balanced, colorful breakfast with protein, fiber. Rest, midday 20-30 mins, recline, eyes closed. Evening, light dinner before 8 p.m., no screens afterward. Hobby, anything quiet, gardening, embroidery, Quran reflection, gentle reading. Sleep, no later than 10:30 p.m. Your daily rhythm sets your emotional tone. Flow, read memory twice, and then write afterward. ChatGPT said, that's silence after being disrespected. It can echo louder than the words that caused it. Not because you're weak, but because deep inside you're still hoping, maybe they'll realize, maybe they'll understand. But life teaches us, understanding doesn't always come from waiting. It often comes from positioning yourself, not just as a parent, but as a presence they begin to admire again. That shift begins within your own environment. Look around your space right now. Does your room feel peaceful? Does your body feel supported by your chair, your mattress, your lighting? Even simple upgrades like a better lumbar cushion, switching to warmer light bulbs, or setting a soft radio station during meals. These affect your emotional balance. And when you feel emotionally stable, your reactions to disrespect shift from painful to powerful. This is the foundation of emotional preparation. When children notice you're no longer reacting with pain or desperation, they begin to see you differently, not as someone fragile or waiting for their approval, but as someone who's centered. That shift alone can change their tone. Not instantly, but inevitably. Now let's go deeper into something often ignored in elder years: social nutrition. Yes, you've heard of food nutrition, but social nutrition is equally vital. Humans are social beings. And in old age, isolation can feel like emotional starvation. So ask yourself, who do you talk to besides your children? Is there a neighbor who smiles? A cousin who remembers the old days? A masjid brother who sits near you in prayer? Reconnect. Call them. Share tea. Exchange 2 lines. Because every time you feel respected outside the family, it becomes easier to handle moments of disrespect inside the family. You start realizing you're still lovable. You're still heard. And suddenly, their silence doesn't feel like the end of the world. Let's take a short breath. Sometimes the reason your child disrespects you isn't that they stopped loving you. It's that they've forgotten how to express love. And unfortunately, many adult children believe love is only expressed through money or presents. But you know better. Love is also tone. It's being asked, how was your meal? It's being reminded, don't forget your sweater. It's being smiled at. So what if you showed them how to love again? Here's a method I often suggest to elders. Model the tone you wish to receive. When your child arrives angry, don't say you never visit. Say it's good to see you again, even if for a short time. When they're silent at the table, don't say talk to me. Say I made something you used to like. It reminded me of you as a child. These small openings create emotional microbridges. Children rarely change overnight, but they change in degrees, especially when they see consistent, soft dignity from your side. Now let's address something rarely talked about: physical pain and its emotional consequences. Disrespect feels 10 times heavier when your body is already carrying physical discomfort. Many elders hide or minimize their physical pain, thinking why complain now? But unaddressed pain makes you irritable, tired, defensive. You react quicker. You cry easier. You think darker thoughts. And your children misinterpret these signals as moodiness or guilt trips. So please, attend to your body. Joint pain. Invest in a warm compress pad or a gentle electric massager vibrating cushion for your lower back or knees. Consult your doctor not for surgery but for mobility exercises. Ask about turmeric-based anti-inflammatory supplements. Natural but doctor-approved. Sleep troubles? Avoid screens 90 minutes before bed. Use a sleep mask if your room isn't fully dark. Try white noise like ocean waves or Quran recitation softly in the background. Sleep is not luxury, it's medicine. Digestive issues. Include papaya or soaked raisins in your morning routine. Add a pinch of the javouin in warm water after dinner. Every symptom ignored is a reason your tone might shift, and your child notices only the symptom, not the cause. But when you begin healing gently, slowly, you gain back not only strength, but presence. Let's talk now about spiritual strength, often ignored but critical. When elders feel disrespected, many begin questioning their worth. Am I useless now? Is my life just waiting to end? This spiritual dip reflects not just loneliness, but detachment from one's deeper purpose. So reattach. You are not just a parent. You are a soul in motion. You've lived through history, revolutions, heartbreaks. Your words still carry the weight of eras your children have never known. Start writing a few lines a day. Memories, teachings, favorite moments. Even one line a day becomes a legacy after a year. Keep a soft notebook by your bed. Title it, What I've Seen. Not for the world, for yourself. Because when you begin documenting your journey, you remember your value and others slowly do too. Here's something simple but powerful. Music and fragrance. Did you know that soft music and scent influence memory? If your children once heard you hum a tune, and now you play that again while cooking, it triggers nostalgia. If you used to wear a specific scent, rosewater, sandalwood, lavender, and you wear it again, they remember warmth, safety, stories. Memory is a bridge. Don't tell them how much you sacrificed. Let them smell it. Let them hear it. They won't always comment, but the soul remembers, even if the mouth forgets. Another underestimated idea: let your child feel helpful again. Many times, disrespect hides frustration, because adult children no longer know how to care for a parent who seems emotionally distant or critical. So give them small missions. Say, could you show me how to use this phone app? Say, I'm trying to understand how to reduce this bill. What do you think? Say, would you come with me next time I go to the doctor? Even if you know the answers, let them feel useful again. Power sharing is respect. It means something very sweet. Sometimes the disrespect won't stop completely. Sometimes they need only a cold, careless, but your peace doesn't have to depend on that. Instead, create 3 protective rituals. Morning affirmation. Say aloud before breakfast, I am still valuable. My presence still matters. Afternoon movement. 10 minutes walking inside your home. Touching objects. Noticing colors. Breathing deeply. Nighttime reflection. Before bed, whisper 3 things you're still grateful for, even if tiny, even if they seem silly. These rituals heal the wound their behavior leaves. They don't erase the pain, but they soften it. And a softened heart is stronger than a hardened one. Always. There's a silent strength that grows inside you when you stop trying to be heard by those who aren't listening, and instead begin building a life that speaks for itself. At this point, you've softened your responses, observed your child's pressure, gently adjusted your routines, and offered them small bridges back to connection. But let's now take this one level deeper. creating respect without needing it. This sounds like a contradiction, but it's not. It's wisdom. Let's imagine something together. A woman 72 living in a quiet suburban street. Her daughter calls once a week. Her son texts every other Friday. She doesn't nag. She doesn't beg. She doesn't cry. But every morning she wakes up, brews her cinnamon tea, feeds birds on her windowsill, attends a weekly elders reading circle, and keeps a photo of her late husband beside her Quran. People in the neighborhood greet her. Her face is peaceful. Her words are soft. And those who pass by, they respect her deeply. Now one day, her daughter visits, sits in the living room, sees this harmony, sees her mother not pleading but simply being. That's when something changes. The daughter starts to listen more, stay longer, ask questions, because respect is often born, not in silence, not in conflict, but in admiration. And admiration doesn't grow from pity. It grows from witnessing inner peace, self-maintenance, and quiet confidence. This is your new path. Start small. Build a weekly habit that doesn't involve your children at all. It could be a Friday afternoon herbal tea meetup with another elder, Sunday recipe journal, where you try one new spice each week. Monday sunrise recitation, sitting by the window with headphones. Thursday charity habit, sending just one meal, $1, or one prayer to someone else in need. You're sending a message to the world. I am not waiting to be remembered. I am living to be radiant. When this glow becomes visible, disrespect turns to curiosity. And curiosity often turns into reconnection. Let's not forget community. Join small elder-focused groups in your local area, whether it's an online seniors forum, a nearby masjid discussion circle, or even an intergenerational neighborhood walk program. Why? Because when children see their parents are involved in something greater than just waiting for them, they feel less guilt, less pressure, and more interest. They start seeing you not as a background character in their drama, but as a person with purpose. And even if they don't, you know who you are. Boundaries now come into play. A calm parent is not a silent doormat. You must also learn to draw the line, respectfully, firmly, and without anger. If your child repeatedly insults you, say calmly, I won't allow that tone anymore. We can speak again when we're both calm. If they manipulate you emotionally, say I love you, but love also needs limits. I want us to connect with dignity. If they don't call for weeks and then suddenly ask for help, say I'm happy to help, but I also hope we can talk when it's not just about problems. These aren't confrontations. They're boundaries drawn with a steady hand, not a shaking heart. For those who've lost a spouse, please hear this gently. Many children disrespect one parent more after the other parent died, not because they love you less, but because the emotional balance is gone. So recreate it. Keep reminders of your partner's wisdom alive. Frame a quote they once used. Keep their advice in a small journal. Live by it. Your child will remember the unity you once had, and might start honoring the bond again, even if one of you is now unseen. For those with memory issues, if you forget conversations, repeat stories, or fumble for names, don't feel ashamed. Explain it calmly. Say, my memory is softer now, but my love for you is still sharp. Or I may forget moments, but I never forget people who matter. These light expressions reduce their frustration and remind them, this forgetfulness is a part of aging, not a failure. Let's talk about eye. If your eyes are struggling, get your vision checked. Many elders' posture and tone changes because they simply can't see facial expressions anymore, and they misread their child's mood. Clear vision, better interpretation, softer responses. Same goes for hearing. A missed sentence shouldn't lead to argument. Ask for a hearing test if necessary. Small aids, better communication, reduced misunderstandings. Here's something surprising. Smell. If your home smells fresh, cozy, and clean, it subconsciously soothes both you and your visitors. Try this. Burn a soft bakur, or use lavender oil near windows. Light a cinnamon stick in water to simmer midday. Open windows early morning for fresh circulation. Sensory cues change emotional reactions. We'll end with this. The goal isn't perfect children. The goal is to create a space where respect doesn't have to be begged for, because it radiates from your presence. To become someone whose very lifestyle reminds others of dignity, balance, and spiritual beauty. Your children may or may not change. But you are evolving. Every small act of grace you've chosen, every moment you responded with calm, every time you chose nourishment over anger, prayer over shouting, clarity over bitterness, you've already won. You've become not just a parent, but a teacher, a guide, a quiet pillar in a loud, forgetful world. We've spent hours building this, quietly, carefully, for you. So here's just a gentle, sincere request. If you found this video helpful in even the smallest way, perhaps you felt seen, comforted, or guided, then help us create more, not just for you, but for thousands of other elders silently struggling just like you. You'll find a little support link in the comments and description. It's a simple way to lift us while we try lifting you. And one last reminder I'll leave you with. Start every morning by sitting near a window. Close your eyes and smile softly. Because peace in your heart creates more healing than 99% of all medicines combined. You are not forgotten. You are not invisible. You are essential.